Vad fan, bitches! This is Tom coming to you from Shanghai for another obstreperous Eurovision reaction video. And this morning, I'm going to be reacting to Sweden. The song is called Too Late for Love and it's by John Lundvik. So, let's kiki! This is going to be quite a long video today. I'm a bit of a Sweden super fan, so I feel the need to discuss a lot of their previous entries and also Melodifestivalen this year. So if you want to skip ahead, there are timestamps down the bottom. You can skip straight to my first thoughts after the music video or my score. So I've been kind of dreading doing this video for a long time. Part of the reason I put it off is I was waiting for his music video, which isn't going to come in time. The other reason is Sweden is my favourite country in Eurovision by quite a long way. That's not really based on the quality of their entries, but more their overall persona and the overall attitude towards Eurovision by the country. I have lived in Sweden. I lived there for 4 months when I was a student in university. I did the Erasmus program in Stockholm. I lived in Västerskogen. I taught myself Swedish before I went there, so my Swedish was okay. I had conversational. I understand around 20-30% of Melodifestivalen, so I really enjoy watching it because I understand it more than, for example, Vidbeer, which is completely incomprehensible to me and is around 50 hours long. So first of all, let's discuss Sweden in Eurovision. Glasses on. So let's get the obvious one out of the way. Loreen in 2012. That one was an amazing song. And for me, one of the real wow Sweden moments. I don't really associate Sweden with having a huge quantity of wow songs. It's more that they have a large quantity of extremely good songs. 2011 popular Erksada, I think he was robbed. Azerbaijan as a winner for me that year. It was an okay, it was top 10 material, but it wasn't a winner. I don't know what happened that year. I found that year very odd. France were the favourites and came 15th. For me, the best song in the top 5 was Erksada. I think he should have won that year. 2010, Anna Bergendahl. People this year were talking about Bergendemption, her getting redemption. I did not feel her need to get redemption whatsoever. I was very pissed off though, because my favourite song that year was Salim Al Fakir, Keep On Walking. If you haven't heard that song, download it, it's very good. I thought he was absolutely and utterly robbed. I felt like that was a real emotional decision that they decided to send Anna based on her personality and her persona as opposed to the actual song. Because for me, Keep On Walking was significantly better. Another year where I disagreed with the Swedes was 2016. I really didn't like Franz. The song was okay. It's that mainstream type of song that I don't particularly like, but that tends to do well. For example, Switzerland this year I don't particularly like, but I can see how it's very popular. The song's quality was exaggerated by the public love for Franz, which I didn't feel, because I wasn't part of that time where he had this Latin Ibrahimovic song. My issue with Franz was that he didn't feel like a real Eurovision fan to me. And there are people who kind of dedicate their careers to, trying in Melodifestivalen year after year, and they build up a following and they build up a reputation. And I felt like Franz kind of swooped in as someone who had never really put in the legwork. Couldn't even really sing and kind of took the place of other people. Second place that year was Oscar Zia, which he had an incredibly atmospheric, emotional performance. I much would have preferred if that had went. And there were several other songs. 2016 Melodifestivalen was probably my favourite year in totality. Ace Wilder, Don't Worry, coming third. My second ever most played Swedish song is Constellation Prize by Robin Bengtsson. That came 5th. That was my real favourite song that year. 2016 was also my favourite year for Lisa. I actually entered 3 times. My Heart Wants Me Dead. That came 7th. And then you had other great songs. Panatos were in that year. Saraha, Kazungu Zungu. Boris Renee, Put Your Love On Me. That was such a strong year. And to have so many awesome songs that would have made the final, and then to have Franz win it, that's probably my biggest disappointment in Melodifestivalen ever. Mons was a worthy winner in 2015. They were the first one to come up with the whole interactive digital thing, and fair play to them. It was an original idea. It was really fit the song excellently. And the song was a really good song behind it. When you listen to the studio version, obviously you don't get any of the visuals, and I've still listened to that over 150 times, so I think it was a really worthy winner. 2017, very slick performance. I really enjoyed it. The Tron imagery they had in the final was awesome. I was a Loreenster. Statements for me, that song absolutely transcended anything else in that competition. That was my third most played song in that season, only behind Verona by Estonia and Beautiful Mess by Bulgaria. So I was really devastated that didn't even make the final. Generally, I really agree with the Swedish public, but every once in a while, there's a couple of decisions which really jar me. Last year, Benjamin Ingrosso, I still don't get why he did so bad with the televote. Some people say that it was too disconnected, it was too fancy. I don't think it was any more disconnected or fancy than Robin Bengtsson was, and he did very well in the televote. I really found that inexplicable. I've never had someone come forward with me with a good explanation for why they did so well in the jury and so bad in the televote. So, coming to Melodifestivalen this year, I thought the standard was really high. Melodifestivalen for me is the absolute and utter pinnacle of national finals. I don't think there's anything that really comes close to it. Some of the other national finals are starting to pick up a little bit, but in terms of quality, production, consistency, the overall package, really, it's in a league of its own. Every year there's consistently the top artists of Sweden, pop artists of Sweden, with the best songwriters giving really fantastic quality of songs. So I'm going to go through all the semi-finals because really I'm a massive Melfast fan. So I've made some diagrams just to explain these pictures. I've given the actual result, my ranking, and then in the difference column in the middle is the difference between where I ranked it and where Sweden ranked it. So a redder number is when I liked it and Sweden didn't, and a greener number is when Sweden liked it and I didn't. So coming to the first semi, I mostly agree with everything. I think Ziana was absolutely robbed. That song was such a banger. I think she really lacked from not having name recognition. I think if someone else had come in with that song, it would have gone direct to final, no problem. It was super fun. It's one of my most listened to songs in this whole season. You know, they didn't put Nana direct to final, but we went to the final in the end anyway, so my only real problem with that first semi was Ziana. Semi-final number 2, I had a little bit more of a grudge with. Margaret Tempo, I don't think that was justified in going out. I really do feel like if that had been sent by a Swede, it would have gone through. I'll also say, I can see why it's not appealing when you're watching her clip and she's like, oh, I'm so busy, I basically don't want to be here. Fair enough, I think that would some people would find that grating. In My Cabana was an amazing song and her performance was really, really on point. This year, again, she looked sleepy, a little bit lost on stage. It was almost harking back to the Cool Me Down performance in Poland's national final 2016, where she pretty badly flopped. My other grudge on that was Vlad getting through. That song was not good. That was 100% because he was social media. And this is the thing that bothers me about Sweden, is that it's not always about the quality of the songs, it's also about your social presence a bit too much. Basically loads of 15-year-old girls kind of fan wanked him into the Anders Jansen. Now, semi-final number 3. This one was the most extreme for me. My 2 favourite songs were Lovers of Valdara and Omar Rodberry. Not only did they not qualify, they came last and second last. So I was really good about that. Lovers of Valdara is currently my top 5 most played for this Eurovision season. Other than that, I was really happy they put Leaning Through. It's nice to see a Schlager song doing well. Now the 4th semi, Bishara. Undeniably an extremely talented young man. He's going to be really, really successful in the future. Great voice, great stage presence. But the song was crap. That song was absolutely nothing. I've heard it 4 or 5 times. I cannot hum you the melody. It's such a nothing song. And that was the biggest example this year of sending someone through based on who they were as opposed to what the song was. This song, it just stank of a rejected song that they'd sent to lots of other people, and they're like, oh crap, let's just tag it on to a handsome young boy who's going to have a lot of girls voting for him. It came 5th to the jury, so maybe it was just me, and maybe it had a mainstream appeal that I just couldn't register. In a very strong year, that song came in 2nd. I felt very disconnected to the public in that sense. So I've compiled what my final would have looked like after my Ander Hansen. Of the 12 actual finalists, I would have had 7 of them, but only 1 of them would have been in my top 5. So it was a slightly disappointing year for me in the sense that I felt very unsynchronized with the Swedish public. Generally our synchronization is pretty good. I get on very well with Swedes. You know, I think it's inevitable that we're just going to have a mismatch year. But my biggest concern was Vlad and Bishara, these young male YouTube stars, having what I feel is disproportionate amount of success compared to the song. And that slightly worries me for the future. I really do feel like a song's results should be based predominantly on the quality of the song and the quality of the performance, and not how handsome or fun the person is outside of the song. God, that was long. Now you can see why I've been dreading doing this video for so long, because it's going to take like 15 years to edit. We're going to react to John's final performance because his video's taken forever to come. So I'm going to talk over his performance because I've heard the song a million times. That's how my channel works. Headphones in, glasses on, glasses on. My glasses are already on. Wanna know my secret? Bang. Okay. Haven't seen this in a while. He's a very confident performer, and his faceography in this performance is great. And obviously, you know, he's got a very nice voice. He's got effortless command over it. The light thing is nice. It's quite simple. It's easy to replicate in Tel Aviv. It's not over the top, but it seems relevant to the song. Song builds quite quickly. You know, we're already into the pre-chorus. It's building up pace. I was so worried when he re-entered he was going to have another song like last year, which was, I was so sappy. It's a great upbeat song, you know. It's really nice to have a song like this in the competition because it's fun, it's energetic, it gets you up dancing. I like this side glance. It's so cheeky and kind of like a little bit charming. It could come across as a bit sleazy, but he pulls it off. Never realized before that light thing is a lot like what Franz had at his performance. And also what Benjamin Grosso had as well. You can see that they've kind of stripped back their technology though this year. You know, they've been very technologically focused the last 4 years, all with solo male artists. Love when the women come in here. They add so much attitude to the song. I love this glance. That little head, I love that. they always, that happened in the semi-final as well. They always get her to do that. You really get this sense that he's got a relationship with them. Like, it seems really genuine when they congratulate each other afterwards. Nice finale. This has got a hand clap, which I've begrudged some other songs for. I feel like it's more genre appropriate here because it is a gospel song. Ending for me is a bit too... I don't like that sudden ending, really. That's probably a little bit of a issue I have with it. Headphones off, glasses off. Okay, so where to start? Let's start with John. Last year, I thought his song was awful. I hated it. Oh my god, I hated it. It was so sappy, sterile, Disney Frozen's deep B-side single. I thought the song was way beneath him. So when I saw that he was coming back this year and he had the last slot, I was like, oh crap. He's gonna send another Disney song, but it's gonna be slightly better. So I was so massively relieved when he started his performance and it was an upbeat song. I really like John as a person. It's very apparent that he's a very nice, bubbly, positive person. I think he's very emotionally invested in this, which I would contrast with Franz in 2016. Maybe Franz was invested, I don't know, but the impression I got was that he wasn't as much as someone like John, for example. He's a really competent performer. He doesn't seem to have any nerves whatsoever. He knows exactly what he's doing. He hits all the marks. He hits all the notes. His body language and his faceography is totally on point. And when he adds in the emotional elements into the song, I really believe it. I just feel like he's the type of person that you just kind of automatically are rooting for. And this song fits that because you're rooting for him and then it ends up being a happy, joyous song and it's almost like you're celebrating with him. I think this song is going to bring a lot of similarities with Caesar Samson last year. That's not just because they're both handsome black men. You got to be honest, the song does have a lot of similarities. It's got that pop, slightly upbeat, the gospel edge. Their movements are very similar. You know, they're the same age. It's very similar, and coming the year afterwards, I think this is going to draw a lot of similarities. I spoke a little bit about the technological element. If you look at Mons, he had his computer screen. Franz had his light backdrop with words on it. Robin Bengtsson was extremely technological. And then obviously Robin Bengtsson last year was very so we've had 4 years in a row where there's been a heavy focus on technology, and there have been 4 solo male artists. Now we've got a 5th solo male artist in a row. I'm wondering if part of the reason that Robin Bengtsson did bad was this repetition of solo male artists with a heavy focus on technology distractions and less of a focus on the person's performance. Too much gimmickry. And I wonder if John is conscientiously trying to take a step back from that. He's got the lights at the start, but really they're not the forefront. And he does move away from them quite quickly, and he brings back a human element with the girls behind him. They've stripped back the choreography. It really does seem like a natural, free-flowing sermon. Yeah, I think this is a smart experiment for Sweden because they're trying to send something that doesn't have that technological focus this year, and I think they'll really be watching quite closely the televote score. Will this get them a better televote than last year? Was last year just an anomaly? Or was it people starting to feel that Sweden were coming too often with these extremely clinical, overthought performances that lacked a spontaneity or ease in them? So although I put this 6th in my final ranking, I knew realistically who the real contenders were. It was between him, Liamo, Bishara, and Victoria. So I was definitely rooting for him out of all of those. So I was very happy when he won. He's a really genuine guy. I loved his reaction afterwards. He was quite tearful. I think this means a lot to him. I just think he's a really nice person. Coming to predictions. Now this is obviously going to qualify. I'm not even going to discuss that. It's 100% qualifying. How it will do in the final, I think it really does come down to the televote score. I think this, very similar to Austria last year, this is going to do very well with the jury. It's a respectable song, respectable performer. It's safe, but still quality and fun to listen to. There's nothing here that's new or wild or is going to offend anyone, which is its downfall, but also one of its strengths. So I think it's safe in the top 15, top 10. Whether it can get higher than that really just depend on the televote, whether enough people connect with him. I think as a performer, he's got a great connection. I just don't think the song has enough of an X factor that when you've seen all 26 finalists, you're going to go, oh, I remember that gospel song, as opposed to, for example, Hattori or Netherlands with the extremely emotional chorus. So I don't think it has that standout appeal that can take it to the higher echelons. So while I agree with putting this as a almost definite top 10er, for me, if this gets top 3, I'll be quite surprised. Coming to my score, in a year where none of my favourites from the semis really went through, one of my favourites in the final won. So I'm happy about that. I love John. I'm happy he gets this moment. The song is solid. It's fun. They're going for a more human performance this year. There's less technology. It's more about the person, and John is the person to pull that off. So my score for this is 88. So what do you think about John Lundvik's Too Late for Love? Please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Who would you have chosen to go instead of him if you could pick any of the 28 semi-finalists? Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I should probably say I've only got 2 songs. So this is my last song in semi-final 2 to react to. I finished semi-final 1, I finished semi-final number 2. I've got Spain and Germany, and then we're on a one-way ticket to Predictionville. So stay tuned, mother lovers. So thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you on another Eurovision reaction video very soon. Goodbye.